And welcome back to the LEC. We're ahead of our game between SK and Excel. We will be breaking down a little bit of the early game we've seen recently come through from Excel. Because despite them not getting the victories, the early game has still been good. And I wanted to highlight why that is. So we'll dive right into the play where we're in a situation where the bot lane is being shoved in by Patrik. This allows Mikyx to then roam around because there will be a roam timer for him where the enemy winning wave is bouncing back. So as you can see, Patrik's gonna shove it in. Crucially, Mikyx destroys a ward. And now with Mikyx destroying a ward, that actually gives Larssen the information that, you know what, Mikyx, he's actually coming through from the bot side. So Larssen, he's gonna just path off towards the top side, be on the opposite end of the lane, which should make it harder for Mikyx. But what Nukeduck then does is the fact that he'll actually move himself up here, get into a position where he can set up the CC, and then afterwards Mikyx can come through. Very intelligently done by Nukeduck here in this scenario because Larssen not expecting it, and he's forced to blow the summoners of Ghost and Flash has been popped. That brings us into the next scenario, of course, where all of a sudden we have the same kind of scenario. Bot lane had previously been pushed in. That allows now once again Mikyx to get out on a roam timer. Bot lane is being shoved in, which means this roam timer will be matched by Trimby, but Mikyx will be on the play first. As you can crucially see with the junglers as well, they're on each opposite side of the map, as both mid laners at this point in time does not have flash. So this is all going to be about who strikes first, who's the first on the move, who sets it up, and Nukeduck actually plays this beautifully once again, dodging out on both the Flak and Drag and the Rock at the same time. And now talking about those supports coming in, Mikyx is here first. And that allows them to come into a situation where, you know, on the side of the enemy support with Trimby, he couldn't just move himself down from the bot lane into the mid lane and be there to trade 1-for-1. Essentially, they trade 2-for-0. And this is one of the reasons why Excel early games, they've been so great, they've been so brilliantly good at it.
Hang on.
No,
I'm not having this.
Early game with Excel!
No, because the early game is fine. But hang on, I'm going to show you what actually happens to Excel when we get into the later portion of the game. Because what happens is, every single time, they get these early leads, and then they throw it away. They decide to go for these weird invade times where they have no vision, they have no idea where the enemy is, and then they could get completely outmatched. And this isn't the first time this happened. It happened yesterday, happens against Astralis, it's happened too often now, and I'm sick of it because we get such good early games from Excel, and then to have them completely bottle it every time they get into the mid game because of these mistakes is just heartbreaking to see. And you can see from this clip, they go for this invade, they blow all of their early pick opportunities, and then they start trying to move in towards a dragon fight where Rogue absolutely dominate them. And this is where that Rogue team fight was able to bring them back into the game. So for me, I definitely need to see Excel not only cleaning up the early game a little bit, but also seeing that the mid game can find that success that can grow on the strength of what has been that early stage.
I like it. We've got the good cop and the bad cop about Excel, but I think it's going to be a big focal point into this one because Excel is up versus SK. And when it comes to the standings and the stake, the teams are both tied at 7 and 9, with the loser being eliminated for playoff contention after this. A wild ride for Excel after that flying start, but now making mistakes like this in the mid game. So the question is, what will SK be able to do? Yesterday, they were up versus Vitality with a bonkers draft. They were behind, but they team fought their way out of it.
And this is why, stylistically, if Excel continues with the same mistakes, they're not going to be in a good position against SK. SK has not needed to be ahead in the early game. They find their key victories in some of the mid-game team fights where they crawl their way back into it, and specifically, well, with Treatz, with his monster performance on Markoon yesterday, Gilius and Divine, I don't think the draft facilitated that, but my word, they made it work in the team fights.
And I love that we finally got to see what actually has been the strengths of SK. I know that sounds strange for a team that has struggled, but it has been a strong mid-jungle for them. We got to see that. It's been very rare that we actually get to see it. Playing 4 picks, playing a pick-oriented composition like this worked out so well for them, consistently getting on towards that Sivir. As we highlighted Treatz earlier on the day being that main proponent for that. I want to see SK going back towards the style, and maybe we get to see a bit more of that spice.
But look at the way it's done. First pick Y, all right, well, Vitality, they just slammed the Sivir. Now you can't get rid of the spell shield, but then all of a sudden they just start layering that all up with the Rakan as well. So Gilius like, yeah, I'll burn my ultimate, but how are you going to deal with Treatz and his ultimate now coming in? So it's in a scenario where it didn't really look like it was going to work, and it was difficult to pilot. But SK succeeded at it.
And that's so cool, right? Because it's not the easiest to pilot, but going off the confidence of Treatz to make those engages time and time again, setting up Jezu on that Yasuo for the team fights. And after the game, one of my favorite interviews, Jezu just going with the sunglasses, you know, deal with it. We have more spicy picks. just so much confidence, and I think you need just that.
I mean, SK, they are just the Power Rangers. They've literally had content pieces with this, okay? It doesn't matter what we show after it. We don't care, just Power Rangers, team fighting, 5 members together, we'll make it work.
Yeah, and they did definitely turn into that, whatever the name of the giant robot is, because it felt like everyone was working together on the same page. Because when you look at, like, what do you spell shield as Sivir here? It's like Flash Q from VoD, then the ult from VoD, now you got Charm from Rakan, then you get the knockup from Rakan, then the upper head. It's like, you have no chance.
She comes from a different time, Sivir, when there was not that much actually to spell shield. Quick, we have to go to Cashers for predictions. Is it XL or SK? XL or SK? XL or SK?
XL. I feel like they still
I'll
have
go SK for the spice.
Okay.
Whoa, okay.
And you don't get time to elaborate. Vedi, let's go.
Refuses to elaborate.
Does it count if you're called off the stage for that meme? I don't think it does, right?
What do you mean?
So like if, you know, the Malrang ganks top with pillar level 2 leaves, refuses to elaborate. I don't think it counts if someone cuts you off if you refuse to elaborate, because then you just don't have the opportunity.
Just gonna do Sjokz like that? That's kind of mean.
No, it was Guldborg. I was. Yeah.
We're throwing Guldborg under the bus.
Yeah.
That I'm always down for.
Cool.
That's cool.
It's also that camera, by the way.
There's a light and I was not looking at the right one. Welcome back. XL versus SK. Very, very, very important game for both of these teams, because this could be the end of the season for one of these teams.
Yep.
They
do still have one more game.
Well, yes, they will still play one more game, but like effectively that game won't mean anything for that team. No playoffs opportunities, no title opportunities, no worlds opportunities. This game is ultimately what both of these teams' seasons have boiled down to.
All comes down to this: every dream and every wish.
Does indeed, Medic. Yeah. It does indeed. So we'll see, because the expected favorites should have been XL. When they came into the split after the first 3 weeks, they were top 3. They sat alongside Fnatic and Rogue, and everyone expected them to be a top dog. But the tables have turned. We're about to jump into draft, so without further ado, let's play the music.
Let's get into it. XL with 6 wins on the blue side, 2 losses. Since week 3, they have gone 2-7 as a roster. SK fighting back this week. It came into the week at 6 wins. They need all 3 to have any chance, really, of making it into playoffs, and they picked up a win yesterday against Vitality. Today they play XL. Tomorrow they play G2. What a road it would be, and one that Gilius has seen before.
Yeah, true. That he has. You know, it was Cadril that was telling me earlier, this time last year is when Gilius knocked XL out of playoffs. Yeah. Now he could be 1 game away from doing it again.
At the start of the season as well, there was a prediction that Sjokz did with all the players saying who's going to make it into playoffs. And Gilius said, I think it's XL, but it can't be XL because something always happens to them at the end.
Is it Gilius?
Is it Gilius that happens? Could be.
We're about to find out. So the bans have come out already. Renata, Kalista, and LeBlanc on the side of XL, with Gwen, Yuumi, and Ahri on the side of SK. So a lot of power picks up. Poppy, Taliyah, Sivir,
Other ones, yeah.
Born. No, it's just like there's actually so many champions up and available. Like that you can also go for the Wukong if you want to. Ahri, of course, is up. Not that I say that Ahri's actually banned away. That's the one I normally expect to be up. But with the Sivir open, the question is, will Gilius respond with the Poppy? Of course, we've been seeing Trundle used as a consistent answer into the Poppy, but I think the Poppy matchup is still very playable because of how much you can do in the early game.
Yep.
Oh.
So I will say, yesterday, SK went really aggressive. Yeah. Something no one expected them to do. They played that Yasuo in the bottom lane for Jezu. The combination between the Vi, Yasuo, and Rakan is what won them the game. Here, it looks like they're going for something slightly more standard. At least with their first pick, Poppy locked in. There's the Taliyah as well for Sertuss in the mid lane.
Why would you not?
Yeah.
Very powerful first rotation. XL, they can look to lock in. I imagine they'll lock in the Trundle here. The question is, will they grab anything else alongside it? Imagine if you go something like a Trundle Ornn. You get yourself a really strong top side of the map, especially with Gwen already banned away.
I mean, Nukeduck could look for something into the Taliyah as well in the mid lane. Azir does give you some good scaling, and there it goes. First Azir game for Nukeduck this split.
Definitely not throughout his career, though.
No.
He's very familiar with the champion, looking to get a little bit of push in the early game. We'll see if he's actually able to do it against Sertuss Taliyah. But definitely more on the scaling side. They're going to keep their top lane pick until later on in the draft. I am surprised Ornn has made it this far through the draft. Here in Europe, it's been a very powerful pick. And the Draven now answer from Jezu. He's been picking a lot of early game dominant champions. We saw the Yasuo out from him yesterday. But okay, he's going to go for the Draven this time around. I wonder if XL will choose to remove the Rakan. Because you don't really want to play the Rakan yourself into the Poppy and Taliyah.
Yep.
But it could be a very powerful engage tool for SK. Not the best lane, and immediately it's going to be removed.
So we can't take it away.
Okay.
I also think a Nautilus ban here from XL would be pretty
good,
strong.
Maybe even Alistair, maybe.
Yeah.
Remember, Treatz was the Alistair. Do you remember that Alistair play?
The Hex flash across the wall into no vision that literally
was,
won them the game and got them. Yeah, it was god tier.
And there's the Ornn ban. So, two of the champions that we talked a lot about now being removed. Braum being taken off the board. Interesting. That's a little surprising. Because Braum, I think, is a pretty good answer into things like Sivir.
There's the Alistair ban that you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. So now we are looking at things like a Nautilus. I don't think SK have to pick it here if they don't want to. I think that they can just grab themselves a top. But what blind top do you actually pick? It's tough because a lot of the safest blind ones have actually been taken off the board.
That's why I think Nautilus here makes more sense, right? Give your top laner a little bit more freedom. You could see Janax going back to, you know, an Aatrox, even a Kale if he has a good matchup for it. There's this Sejuani for it, so they're going full scaling, man. Like,
looks like it.
Azir, Sivir, the Shuriman scaling composition.
Sometimes that when you're not confident and you kind of need to win, if you believe that you have better players, then going for scaling is the better plan, right? Because you can just weather the storm in the early game, and then you can look to scale up. Tahm Kench, wow. So, I mean, Tahm Kench good into Nautilus. The single target CC that Nautilus can provide alongside his engage. You have to get through a spell shield, and you then have to get through a Tahm Kench as well, which is just going to add another front line. While XL, I mean, there's not much to say about XL's comp other than it's a front-to-back comp, right?
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
We got the two gladiators. On one side we have Shuriba, on the other side we have Sett and Draven taking us into gladiatorial combat.
Wow, when was the last time we saw Sett? It's been a while.
Find out.
It has been a while since we last saw a Sett. I mean, Sett has typically always been very good into many tanky matchups towards the top side of the map. He's really good against front lines because his ultimate allows him to bring that front line to the back line. And he's really good at soaking up damage. But with a lot of changes to Sett and itemization, well, over time, he's just been, well, hurt a lot, and he's not really been super popular. So I'll be excited to see how he does this time around.
So do you want Sett at all, or just Sett top lane?
Give me Sett at all.
Sett at all was Targamas against Mad Lions in spring 2022.
I do remember that.
In top lane was Adam against Misfits in spring 2022 as well. They didn't lose that game.
Wasn't that long ago at all.
Yeah, before that we had a lot in summer last year. And Janax actually bringing it out a couple of times as well.
In any case, I'm excited. SK continuing to push the boundaries, bring something new. Their backs are against the wall alongside XL. As we mentioned, this could very well be the game that decides it all. An XL win means they still have a shot at playoffs. Same for SK. All on the line, XL versus SK. Let's get into the Rift.
From 5-2 to 7-9, XL's fall from grace has been rapid. Deterioration in terms of the quality of their games as well.
Yeah.
Fallen down.
Shocking, really. Yeah. And to think that they find themselves in this position as well. Like, after last split, they secured their first ever playoffs. And we were like, this is it. XL's now like a top 6 team. They have the caliber of players. They have the potential. And you can see that at the end of the regular season, the best they've ever had was 5th. And at the beginning of this season, the expectations were that they would just be a shoo-in, right? XL, one of the teams. Who are they going to kick out? You know? But now they find themselves on the cusp of being eliminated from playoffs once more. 8 seasons, potentially with only 1 playoff appearance, would be not great.
Yeah, not the best. Not the best. I think people saw it as the sort of dawning of a new age for them.
Bear in mind, SK, like, they've been to playoffs a few times.
Yeah.
Like, a variety of different rosters. They've never really been able to make a good run in playoffs, but in the self-made era, they were a pretty scary team to go up against. And as an organization, they've definitely had their fair share of appearances. It's always at the last moment that they've been able to clutch it up. Let's see if they can do it today, especially with God Gilius on their side. The clutch king, as it were, alongside some stand-up performers. Jezu had a great game yesterday. Treatz on his Rakan was super impressive. I'm having a look in this early game to see what we're up to. Trundle going to start red up towards the top side. No level 2 gank in this game. Poppy going to start on the Raptors. Go to red, do a full top side clear. Maybe look for a top lane gank. Nothing too crazy, nothing too uncharacteristic coming out from either jungle.
Yeah, no real surprises there, as you say, like, especially when your hope, your opportunity to make it into playoffs is on the line. People tend to be a little bit more apprehensive about doing crazy things in the early game, flipping level 1, etc. And I think we see that exemplified by Excel's composition here. Definitely just looking for that scaling, looking to let the game develop into 5v5 later on. And their composition does that incredibly well. If they can survive the early game, if they can somehow find a lead in the early game, when we get towards full fights around a dragon, around a baron, they are in prime position to take the win. The question is whether SK can find something for themselves to shut down Excel's scaling opportunities.
So now both junglers are going to start making their way back towards the bot side of the map. Genax, he has no vision on the top side. This is normally where he needs to be a little bit cautious of a potential gank, but he's going to drop that ward down. But obviously there will be no jungler looking for anything on the top side. So there should be a bit of contest around this bot scuttle. That's what we need to keep our eyes on. For now, Jezu and Treatz have the wave stacking in their favor, so they'll have early access. They should be able to get that level 3 first as well. Now with Gilius clearing out his Grom, Treatz already moving up. There should be an early crab going in favor of SK. The question is, how will Markoon respond? Looks like he's not even going to try for now. Going to continue with his full clear. Both junglers treating this early game very safe.
Kind of to be expected. I think both of them are playing around their pushing lanes. You can see Gilius knows that his lane's pushed down towards the bottom side, so he'll go towards this crab. Markoon, we expect, will just recall after doing Krugs and then go up towards that top side. Gilius, if he can find a way to get double scuttle out of this, Sertuss actually trying to go up here and get a ward to make sure that Gilius isn't invading the Razor Beaks. But, sorry, not Gilius. Markoon isn't invading the Razor Beaks. Actually looks like Gilius could go towards the mid lane here.
Is pretty interesting. SK have really good vision all across the map. They know that the top scuttle has been taken, so they can assume, based off this ward especially, that Markoon did a clear down towards the bot side of the map. Pings are coming down now. The expectation is that Markoon will make his way towards there.
I think that's an XL ping.
I think it was
on
an
the
XL
ward
ping as well,
from Finn, I'd assume. Being like, hey, just here is warded. Gilius stopped his recall, came back, and now it looks like they're going up towards that scuttle crab. Ping coming out from one of the two teams.
My suspicion would be that they're not entirely certain where the ward is. Markoon is just indicating that I'm going to head towards that top scuttle.
Okay.
And he's going to get it.
Yep.
All right. So very slow, very steady early game. Like, we've talked a lot about it, how there's a lot of pressure on both sides. And it's one of those things where you never want to be the player that costs your team the game, right? There's so much weight on the player's shoulders right now. The opportunity for playoffs, it's to miss out on it when you're so close, especially when you look at the whole season. It's a lot to carry.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that you do everything properly. These players are hyper-focused right now.
I mean, especially when, if you make playoffs, and this statistically isn't correct, but I'm going to use it for the sake of using it, you have a 66% chance of making Worlds. 6 teams make it into playoffs, and 4 of those teams are going to Worlds. Like, all you have to do is win a best of 5, and you get to Worlds, right? Like, you're actually more likely to make it into Worlds if you make playoffs than you are to make it into playoffs if you're in the LEC.
I mean, yeah, the addition of that extra world spot increased everyone's chances pretty dramatically. And just getting the opportunity to compete at Worlds, teams learn so much. I mean, we saw it from XL when they came back after MSI. They weren't even competing in MSI, but the boot camp, they benefited so much from it. They grew so much as a team.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they couldn't maintain that level of growth. Teams around them got better while they continued to stagnate. What you said, since after week 3, they went 2-7.
Mm-hmm. They were 5-2, leading the league after week 3.
5-2 to then go 7-9, man. That's a pretty significant and dramatic fall from grace. question is, can they clutch up in the game that matters most? Dragon's still up, Herald about 1.5 minutes away. And again, the dance of vision just continues. No laner's going to be too over-aggressive. Jenax building a massive lead up towards top side. Just in the isolated matchup, he's playing it very well.
And that's the thing, he also hasn't reset yet. Will actually maybe try and save his TP,
No,
I'm
I
saying.
don't.
Yeah, he's going to TP back in the wave, not in the best of
Yeah,
spots. I was wondering if he'd try and save it and then look to get down towards this bottom lane at any point, but of course, not having Unleashed Teleport means we don't see top laners doing that as often. Mikyx going to get hooked here, Gilius going to knock him into the wall, and Mikyx, even with the thick skin, is just down. First blood goes over to Jezu, a superb movement on the map there, and Mikyx just a bit overextended.
And what else is there to say? That's just a clean gank. Mikyx still had the flash up, chose not to use it to dodge away from the hook. He could see it coming. But that cash-in went over to Jezu, and now he'll have a lot of gold.
That gold was even before the cash-in. He's now 1,500 gold in his pocket, 1,100 gold ahead. Jezu very quickly coming online here.
Yep. And this gold lead is obviously ballooned incredibly quickly, with the advantage being built in top by Jenax, the advantage being built bot by Jezu. This is where confidence starts to kick in. The moment you make that first play and it pulls off, SK starting to feel it. You know, oh, our AD carry is in a great spot. Jezu, he's carried games before, he can carry games again. We just have to make sure that we keep this momentum up. Excel, the pressure likely only continuing to mount.
And also, on Jezu, where's the threat? Right, you have Finn, who can give you a Glacial Prism, but you have Cleanse for that. And then you have a Shurima Shuffle, or mispositioning and getting caught with like a pillow or a chase down from the Sivir on the hunt. But apart from that, who's threatening you?
I mean, the game from XL is front to back,
yeah.
Right? Like, they just want to kill whatever's in front of them and then slowly work their way towards the next person that's in front of them. They're probably, the comms right now is we scale, we're fine, relax. Treatz looking for another opportunity in mid, but Nukeduck able to dash out of that one. But yeah, XL, as much of a joke as it is amongst the league community, they are just saying that it's fine, we scale, we scale,
sure.
And, you know, sometimes in solo queue, everyone's heard that line before, you know, and everyone's seen that Draven die once, and then you type, as the jungler, you go, hey guys, we scale, just don't die to the Draven, and then obviously the Draven gets another triple kill. But I'm sure that XL are not going to allow that to happen. And I'd be surprised if they contested this Herald. They're likely just going to concede it. At this point in the game, they're not stronger. The good news is that where all their money is on the Draven isn't there. Actually, maybe they are feeling confident enough to contest it. Mikyx level 5, Treatz level 5 as well.
Sertuss doesn't have the seismic shove right now. Abyssal Voyage in, but good dodge to the side by Sertuss and by Treatz. Gilius can hit the eye on that Herald, who's going to go down. Mikyx knocked back once again. Sun coming out from the Glacial Prism. Mikyx trying to get away, but the Whirling Death, it's 2! And the scaling might not pay off for XL. They took a fight. They couldn't find a kill in. Treatz with the flash hook still hits onto Nukeduck, the slash back as well with the seismic shove. Depth charge coming in. SK will find their third of the game. Treatz pays for it with his life, but there's a Rift Herald in Gilius' pocket as well.
And the pressure continues to mount for XL. There was so much hesitancy around that play. Do they know where Jenax is? He's going to reveal himself, Markoon.
Pillar coming down, Jenax with the showstopper trying to get away, flashes forward, would still have the shield as well from the Haymaker, and they know they can't go any further.
Wow, but a great early game for SK. The fact that Jezu picks up that kill as well, look, he already has the Immortal Shield Bow. But look at the hesitancy here from XL. Like, the Sejuani isn't quite there yet, Mikyx tries to engage, and he's attacking the 2. But SK now in a better position, look for the re-engage. Mikyx doesn't flash the hook once again. Means that he delays his flash to later. Draven then picks up the kill from across the map.
Another 230 gold.
And look, Markoon's already out of there. He's gone. And then it's just disjointed from XL. It felt like that the setup and the engage around contesting that, they didn't really need to contest that Herald. But of course, the real risk of giving that Herald over is, oh, it can be used to funnel more gold into the Draven. Well, guess what? You've just funneled more gold into the Draven. And now XL find themselves at a 3k gold deficit with 1.5k of that gold sitting on Jez.
Yeah, the only guy that's even is Nukeduck in the mid lane right now, Sertuss, and he have been trading blows. Crown already complete for Nukeduck, but SK in a very strong position when it comes to gold and comes to items. You can see Jezu there. I mean, Jezu is 1,300 gold ahead of anyone in the game.
Yeah, he's fed. The dragon is up. Looks like Excel are posturing around it. I want to have a quick look at the TPs. One is available for Finn. SK going to start this, XL will know. But SK is going to sit there and say, we're stronger. We don't care if they come. Our Draven is so fed right now. Let's just take it. Yep. So that's what they're going to do. I like the confidence here from SK. And this is what we were talking about. You know, when that first play goes right, that's when you really start to feel confident in your ability to make these plays. And that's exactly what they do. They're not slowing down. They're looking for another gank.
Mikyx doesn't have flash, hook goes wide, Gilius was coming in as well. If they get that kill, they can then put the Rift Herald down and funnel more gold into Jezu, which seems to be the game plan for SK here, and it's a game plan that definitely makes sense. On the other side of the map, Jenax was underneath his tower anyway, so XL really couldn't make anything happen. It's a good investment of resources down here. And for SK, what a comeback story would be if they are able to make playoffs. Of course, this win doesn't lock them. It's just a loss that would lock out either of these two teams. But after they've been struggling so much during the season, it's a pretty encouraging story for them that they've been able to constantly fight this weekend. Already taken down Vitality, now looking to take down XL. Jenax trading onto Finn, the Conqueror, helping him out a little bit there. Of course, Grasp on Finn doesn't really have the same prowess when it comes to fisticuffs. The pugilist that Sett is, he's pretty good at punching.
Certainly is.
It's one of my favorite words, by the way, pugilist.
I also just love Sett's kit, you know?
Yeah.
He has punch, punch faster, big punch,
He's
and then bring you closer to punch you.
Yep.
So simple yet so effective. Now, SK, use the wall to deny XL from being able to get close. I think they did get 2 plates. They don't quite secure the 3rd off the back of that. But you know, they're going to funnel more gold into Jezu. The gold lead hasn't ballooned too much. But SK in a fantastic spot. They just need to keep this going. Reminder, I'm going to keep bringing this up. Scaling is still a thing for XL. Their composition is very much reliant on the front to back. And right now, the deficit that they find themselves in, they obviously have to avoid fighting. But once they reach a certain item threshold, in particular, usually when Sivir gets like 3 items, which he's got enough crit to be able to take advantage of the Infinity Edge, that's when XL will likely get very scary in team fights. The question is, can you get there?
Yeah.
Because right now, SK is doing a great job in this early game. They're going to keep funneling plates. Jenax is going to pick himself up another one. They've actually rotated the Sivir up towards top. The Herald will be spawning in about 1.5 minutes. Maybe they just want Patrik on this side of the map to be able to contest it.
It also just gives him a little bit of time where he doesn't have to worry about a Draven Axe.
It may also just be a situation where they expect the bot tower to disappear.
Yeah.
And rather than allow the Draven Nautilus to stack up a wave and threaten a dive, they said, you know what, we'll just swap and we'll cross-map. So while they take our bot tower, which is going to die anyway, we'll take the top tower.
And with the plates falling down, those towers are a lot less tanky than they are pre-14 minutes. And XL might be the ones looking to make a dive happen here. Jenax does have the Haymaker. He also can walk away. Doesn't have flash yet. That's about 25 seconds, 30 seconds away from coming up. Jenax going backwards, hit with the pillar. Mikyx looking for the tongue lash, clears out a minion. Haymaker going down onto Markoon, but now Jenax doesn't have that shield to survive. The dive that's about to come in the top lane. Showstopper away. Jenax, you're just dead, mate. Nothing you can do about that. Mikyx takes the kill, not the best, but at least it wasn't a big shutdown.
Yeah, it wasn't the plan, I imagine. But XL, they do get a kill, and they will secure another tower. Their first tower of the game means that they do get some gold back. And Patrik is able to get a little bit more himself. SK, though, they rotated around to mids, and now they're in a good position to contest this Herald. Bear in mind, Sivir's ultimate was used. Gilius, he could engage onto Markoon here.
Just uses knockback, though, on the Scuttle Crab, just trying to force Markoon away. Gets you a little bit more vision control, because Treatz was coming around the corner as well, which means this Rift Herald could be started up here by SK. Jenax has the TP, as does Finn. Finn just goes back to base. Stride Breaker now complete on Jenax. Gilius starts up the Rift Herald, and SK continue to, you know, slowly build up this gold lead. It was about 3,000 a couple of minutes ago. It's gone up to about 3,500 now. Nothing too massive, but if they can keep this tempo up, they can definitely continue to wrest the game out of XL's hands. But XL might have something else to say about it. Vedius, as Mikyx comes in, forces the Rift Herald to reset, and Gilius realizes he can't take that fight.
So this is a bit awkward now for SK, because Gilius was alone on it, given that Sertuss wanted to reset to be able to buy the Leandries. XL have also just spent all of their gold, so now they feel a lot stronger than they were a few minutes ago. You can see Nukeduck pushing out that top wave as Jenax is pushing out bot. He does have the teleport. Finn is going to go and answer him. And she's going to go do the Raptors and then go and answer the bot lane.
I think that's the thing, though. If you're SK, you want to wait for Finn to answer, because Finn hasn't burned a TP to get up to that fight. So if you take the fight, Genax then has to burn the TP, XL disengage, you're at TP disadvantage. Now, it's Genax who can walk up, and Finn has to burn the teleport if he's going to come and fight this with XL. SK looking for it, Gilius low. Treatz going in, trying to get onto Patrik, the Whirling Death coming out as well, and Nukeduck
TP
still in the middle of the fight. TP
Finn.
coming in from Finn, and that's man invested. Rifthold's going to reset. That's good for SK. They get a TP out of it. Finn looking for Sertuss, though, gets in with the Glacial Prison. Stopwatch popped. Keeper's Verdict from Gilius only knocks away one. Sertuss will burn the flash. Ignite is ticking, but it won't be enough to kill him off.
So the Herald went on a walk. I don't know where he's gone. Harold has gone all the way around.
Shelly!
Is Harold back?
Shelly! Oh,
Harold's back.
Right.
Harold's back, okay. I don't know where Harold went.
You can call that a leash.
But XL, they get their first objective back. SK, though, very quick to trade it, will secure their second Drake of the game. And they'll say, you know what, not the worst trade in the world. They don't lose any members. But you can see XL's comp, how difficult it can be to play in that front to back. Gilius not quite super tanky just yet. And he gets isolated from the rest of his team. So this is a pretty good war from Sertuss, trying to cut off Nukeduck from the rest of the team. And this is a really good use of Sertuss' E as well.
It goes all the way around because of the
it goes a long way around, yeah. Goes for walkies.
Have you seen the Fenton? You know the guy chasing his dog just shouting Fenton?
Oh,
That's
Fenton,
all I can
yeah.
picture. It's like, Shelly!
Yeah.
Shelly!
Regardless, XL do secure it. They get a pretty good fight. They don't find a kill. But SK, they're definitely not down and out by any means. They still have the gold lead. They have 2 Drakes to their name. And it's an Infernal Soul up for grabs. XL, though, they have slowed the tempo down. They've alleviated some of the pressure, but you just look at Jezu's atomization. 2 fully completed items. LDR plus the shield bow means that Jezu is in a very powerful position. And XL, it's very dangerous to try and kill a Draven at this point when he's this strong. Engage on the Gilius.
Gilius, though, a bit of Voyage coming in. There's the pillar as well. Gilius really doesn't have anywhere to go, has to burn the flash to escape the fight from XL.
So, quick pick, gets a summoner spell. Patrik needs to be careful. Sertuss is looking, does have the ultimate.
Weaver's Ward could come in and separate Patrik from the fight. You can see Sertuss here. 3 control wards means that he knows he's not spotted on vision, but Patrik just gives SK the benefit of the doubt. It's a relatively common play that you see, and he backs away after clearing out the wave. Nukeduck now going to spot Sertuss off towards the top side. And that means Patrik can once again step up and clear the wave in the mid lane. And at the moment, both these teams obviously battling for that 6th place. Fnatic getting that win yesterday means that they may just claim it by winning out. Neither of these teams have their destiny in their own hands, but they can prolong their destiny at least for another day if they are able to win this game. However, if you lose, you are out of playoffs. And as we all know, Vedius, if you don't make playoffs, you don't make worlds.
Correct. It's a pretty big game, and that's why we have seen a much slower game from both of these teams. There's a lot on the line. The loser will be eliminated from playoff contention, as Medic highlighted. It's a lot, and XL are no strangers to this. As you go back through the years, the seasons they have played, often is the case where they find themselves only a single game away, only 1 result. Patrik has been on a number of different rosters with this XL lineup, and he's come very close multiple times. And they've often been too short. Last split was different, but still, XL, they do not have the best history when it comes to playoffs. And now they stare down Gilius, the man famous for the miracle run that knocked out XL from playoffs, the man that has made miracles happen. What's crazy about him is every split that he's in the LEC, people always tell me like, he's not that great of a jungler, like he shouldn't be in the LEC. And then he always does stuff like
just keep making playoffs somehow, you know?
and you're just kind of like, what am I supposed to do?
Obviously, he's doing something. And SK obviously have, as a team, been doing quite a lot over the last few weeks. They're winning against Vitality, a great example of perseverance in the face of adversity, because they fell quite far behind in that game. And until Treatz was able to constantly find the backline, constantly find those knockups for the last breath follow-up from Jezu, it looked like things were done for. Rifthouse being put down by Patrik in the mid lane. This should be the tower falling, although...
Wait a minute! Wow.
Fenton! Fenton! Weaver's one, no way! Where are you going? Where are you going, Bloods? Shelly's just like, mate, come on, come at me, as his friend's holding him back.
Shelly?
Wait, what's happened? Hey!
There we go! Hey! The tower does eventually fall. Shelly's objective in life has been complete.
Look at where Jenax is. He's right behind them. He's looking for a flank position here. Treatz going in as well. Markoon very far. The base breaker onto 3. The knock back onto 2. Jenax on the back line. Jezu on a killing spree. Jenax with the haymaker's going to get stunned up here by Finn. 1-for-1 trade so far. Patrik can open up with the Sivir. Sertuss, ricochet, boomerang. It's enough for Patrik, a double for him. And Excel and Patrik are truly online.
Patrik comes up clutch in the fight. Great use of the spell shield to prevent Jenax from getting on top of him. And then he's able to just dish out the damage. 2-0-1 is the scoreline now. Excel equalized the kills and a dragon on the board for Excel to get back into this game.
Do you fight this if you're SK? Jenax has TP in 13 seconds. Finn obviously already here with Patrik. It looks like they're not going to do it. Gilius going up towards the top side of his jungle. I was just wondering perhaps if you could look for something, but they decide against it. Okay, we're starting from here, are we guys? Spell shield used by Patrik not to get knocked away. Important alongside.
That doesn't mean that it's not available for the team fight, right? SK's just trying to buy time. They use a lot of ultimates just to try and deny Shelly, but they don't actually have anything to shut Shelly down. So the second that she's able to destroy the tower, that opens a window for Excel to start the fight. They're all grouped together. Notice Patrik's positioning here, constantly staying close to Mikyx in the event that he gets put in any danger. And then the moment that it goes down, this is where Excel kick off the fight. On the sidelines, they're cautious of a potential flank. And then the engage comes in from Finn, onto Gilius. Treatz does what he can to lock up Markoon, and then look at Jenax here. 3-man collapse, big damage onto...
Oh. Wait, does he showstopper him out of the knockback from the seismic shove? We'd have to see that. It's a game of inches at most. Patrik had popped the ghost, so maybe he would have been able to walk out of it anyway, but it's possible there was a little bit of anti-synergy there from SK.
But from Jenax's perspective, he feels like that he's got the ability to get that kill onto Patrik, right? Carry, yeah. In his head, he's like, I can get this kill. But it wasn't quite enough. Patrik ends up turning the fight around, finds 2 kills. And even though the gold difference is 3k, you can now start to see the power of Excel's comp, this traditional front to back. 3rd item being worked on for Patrik, while Jezu has his completed. This man was still able to melt through Mikyx. Level 13 on the Draven, and really it is a battle of AD carries this game. Yep. Of course, the 2 mid laners do dish out a lot of damage, but at the end of the day, when it comes to late game team fights, the AD carries will be extremely pivotal in the outcome of the fight.
Excel squaring up once again in this mid lane. Jenax looking for that flank position that he did find in the last fight. Nothing really on this bottom side of the map for SK to play for.
That's why it's kind of weird. They're in like a flanking position, but there's no reason for Excel to actually walk to that side of the map. So they're actually going to move top. They're going to steal away a red. They can actually start threatening this tier 2 tower in top lane as well, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They've kept Nukeduck mid to be able to wave clear, but they know, given the position of the wave, that there's no way for SK to play off of and actually threaten this wave. So a big blunder there from SK, because it's given this big window for Excel to push in this top wave, and now the TP comes in.
Okay, Nukeduck is not here yet, can't counter TP. Weaver's Wall going in, Mikyx trying to get in with the Abyssal Void, so he has the Devour. Jenax looking for Patrik, spell shield down, Facebreaker use, Showstopper back as well as they look for Markoon first. TP coming in from Nukeduck as he wants to join the fray. Patrik opening up on Sertuss. Jezu unable to auto attack, the axe is just not whirling anywhere, there's no death in his arms right now. Knocked back once again, dodged by Patrik. Gilius forced down towards the bottom side of Abyssal Void, not close enough. Gilius should survive this, but all the time in that fight, Jezu was not able to get close.
Yeah, you can see SK are starting to fall apart when it comes to actually finding these fights. Patrik with another great spell shield prevents Jenax from locking him down. Another Baron has been started off by Excel.
Well, Gilius has to back away. Jenax and SK, you need to face check this. No far side alteration for them either. Maybe they just don't realize it started. Treatz doesn't even have a ward. They have no wards, Vedi. They have no way of checking this. Sertuss is going to have to try and put some damage across the pit. Now they realize this is happening. 4,000, 3,500 taken. Smite away by Excel.
They're looking for the fight.
And now Jenax exhausted. Can walk away from this one, but SK caught napping a little bit.
SK caught complete unawares, and think about how that all started off. SK positioning in the bot side of the river.
Oh, Mikyx caught a little bit of sleep there as well. Thought he could get back. Abyssal Voyage out, knocked up with the Keeper's Verdict, knocked back by Sertuss. An answering kill for the price of a big purple worm there. SK able to find one. They get the tower in the mid lane as well, but Excel definitely coming out on top in terms of trade deals.
I will say, Mikyx very keen on holding onto his flash. I really feel he could have flashed and then used his Abyssal Voyage there. In any case, Excel definitely walked away the victors there. The goal difference, though, still in favor of SK, but I think it's very misleading. You kind of look at the goal difference at the bottom of your screen, you can see a large gold advantage in the Draven's back pocket. Of course, that's still a very threatening place for it to be, but Infinity Edge now picked up for Patrik, and this is really where XL start to get scary. Level 16 for Nukeduck. XL's composition is fully online, and I feel that XL is a lot stronger than that gold suggests.
Definitely agree with you there. I think we're starting to see Patrik really put out the damage numbers. Look at that, 13,000 damage just because of those ricochets. Just because if he gets time in a fight, he can open up. Jezu, even though he got those couple of early kills, he isn't able to approach a fight. There's too much for him to have to deal with. And as soon as XL are on the front foot, Jezu really can't get there. Finn able to dodge away as he takes the tower in the mid lane. Glacial Prison used as well. As you say, XL still pushing in that bot lane. They will take a tier 2 there as well. 2 towers to them, and that gold lead shrunk to only about 600 in advantage for SK. You're going to look for something here. Treatz has the hook. Mikyx able to sidestep it, the counter engage, the on the hunt, they're going in, Abyssal Void, Showstopper. There's the Weaver's Wall as well as they try and get on Markoon. Patrik separated from the fight, he's knocked back, and this could be everything that SK were looking for. They try and get onto Markoon, he's exhausted, but he wants to stop watch, he's able to survive. Now's going to join the fray from the side, but there's one with the Whirling Death. Jezu finally gets some time to open up with the Axis. Blood in his eyes and death in his hands. It's 2 for Jezu. Patrik takes 1 in response, it's actually Sertuss gets the second. XL might look for something more, Abyssal Voyage in perhaps from Mikyx.
Nukeduck's in a great position here with the soldiers. He can keep them out of the choke point. He's going to chip away at them, but Jezu is looking.
Mikyx hooked once again, didn't have the flash this time, and doesn't have a leg to stand on. Now Dragon forfeit. SK will take that 3rd of the game.
Another big fight for SK. This time they were a lot more on the same page. I thought that they had actually knocked Patrik into a better position, but it kept him so far out of the fight that there just wasn't enough damage. And look at how quickly Patrik gets isolated. A good wall from Sertuss forces him out of the fight, which means that SK could just focus on the front line. I thought that they were actually putting him back into the back line. A good hook there from Treatz onto Nukeduck forces him out of the fight as well. A knockback then comes in from Sertuss onto Markoon. Sertuss really the unsung hero in these fights, where while Jezu is dealing the damage, Sertuss is creating another knockback. Just so much disruption and making it difficult for XL to really play the traditional front to back.
It's the combination of Gilius disrupting, Treatz landing hooks, Sertuss landing knockbacks, and Jezu putting the damage down.
And I think in this window, XL feel that they can still fight this, especially with Nukeduck's range and his poke, but Mikyx then ends up getting hooked. He doesn't have any way to escape. And Jezu secures another kill. 5-0-1 now for the Draven.
Now has the Guardian Angel as well. He's a pretty tanky boy. I will say, Guardian Angel here, although it makes sense, I wonder if perhaps going for something a little bit more aggressive could work out for you, because if you die, the rest of the team's probably going to die around you while you're trying to come back. I do understand it. Perhaps if you get caught, perhaps if you get picked, it will bring you back and it gives you that second opportunity.
I think that he already has more than enough damage that if he dies...
more damage, Blood for the Blood God.
I think that, to me, it makes sense. GA can be so... Like, you don't appreciate it in a fight, it feels forever until the person is actually revived. And if you're just standing there while Sertuss is hitting you with rocks, it can be really devastating. So I like it. You can see that Patrik is working for the same 4th item. He wants to get that G up as quickly as possible. Can we quickly look at the gold, Medic?
Which gold? Do you want to look at this gold?
Yeah, that one. Okay. So he's not far off. I believe it's 1,500 when you have the BF sword. So he's about 200 gold away. There is no dragon available, so XL don't have to force a fight. They can just wait for Patrik to get enough gold for the GA, back, spend the money, and then they'll be in a better position. Baron spawns in about 1.5 minutes, but it's really coming down to the wire. Both teams' playoff chances are on the line here. The loser will not have an opportunity to qualify for playoffs. That will be it. Their season will be done. They will still have to play another game tomorrow, of course, but their opportunity to fight for the title will be taken away. The other team, their spot in playoffs isn't guaranteed either. They still have a long road to go. They still rely on the results of Fnatic, but still, they will have a chance at the very least. But everything on the line for both these teams, and you can feel the focus, you can feel the pressure. Both teams so desperate to secure a win here.
And we haven't talked much about Nukeduck in the mid lane this game. He is at 3 items, that Crown, Void Staff, Nash's Tooth. If he can find a good shuffle, it's just devastation. It's just an absolute AoE bloodbath. You know, you have all of the ricochets happening, you have the attack speed from the Nashes, you have those soldiers down as well, you've got the Glacial Prison slow, you've got the follow-up with the Abyssal Void. Like, it is just destruction from XL if they can find a fight like that, but SK haven't been giving it to them.
Oh, Sivir choosing not to base just yet.
Maybe just looking for that goal. We'll have a quick look.
He should have more than enough now.
2,000 right now. Do you want us to check your maths?
I'm pretty confident.
So he's at 2,200. You said it was 1.5k, right? So he should be at 600 gold or thereabout, just almost 7. Bloodthirster instead.
Bloodthirster.
Bloodthirster instead.
Not to go for. He actually chose to go for more damage, and he's saying that, you know what, the lifesteal, alongside the shielding that this will give, is more than enough for me.
I mean, I understand it from him as well, because if he's dead, Azir's the only other threat. Right, so if Azir's then dead as well, he goes forward. Hook only onto Markoon. Treatz getting shredded. Bloodthirster working out. Glacial Prisoner, they're going to hit Gilius. He's going to flash away as well. Markoon popped the Subjugate, of course. On Treatz there. Jezu puts the Whirling Death down. Excel on the advance. SK retreating slowly. Sundisk goes down. Excel could look for their second Baron of the game. They snuck the last one.
The damage from Patrik is disgusting. And look at how quickly he's getting all this health back.
Bloodthirster.
Not going to start off the Baron this time round. A quick recall comes in from Treatz as Ignite was used, and now he's back out on the map. Jenax trying to push in that top wave, hovering around the top side. Ping comes through, will be spotted out. Jezu catching that mid wave. Both teams seem a little undecisive here. They're going to move back towards the Drake.
The one good thing for SK is XL are not on soul point. SK are. So if SK are able to sneak this dragon, get it on a flip, something like that, they get the soul. XL won't do that. So SK can actually play both sides of the map if they want. They could set up the Baron and give away the Infernal Dragon. Here, it looks right now, they are trying to gain control of their own jungle. They want to fight for the Infernal Soul.
They've got a good push in mids. They'll likely send Nukeduck bot to go and catch that wave push out. They're actually going to send Finn. Oh, they're not going to send anyone, actually. They don't want to run the risk. Treatz should have been spotted there.
Gonna go. Treatz still has flash. Nukeduck across the wall, they clear out the wall. Gilius looking for Markoon, he dodged him, he's out of the knockup. Markoon looking for some damage of his own, he has to flash away, but Jenax has a great flank position. The knockup from the death charge, the showstopper back. Markoon healed, shielded, the Devour absolutely massive with a 3-man knockback! Nukeduck now stands alone, separates them with the Emperor's Divide and those bodyguards. Those soldiers did everything for Nukeduck.
Treatz ends up dropping the 4-man knockaway from Gilius. Looked so good, but it wasn't enough. XL still come out on top of the fight. The dragon will not be stolen away by Jezu. And XL will come out on top once more. Now they have the Baron in their eyes. Gilius still alive though, has the Hex Flash, has a Smite. Markoon's on cooldown for now.
An incredible keeper's verdict, but that the Emperor's Divide from Nukeduck must have just won XL the game, or at least prolonged their life in it, because it was absolutely perfect. Kept all of SK at bay. The Baron not started here by XL. Well, let's have another look at this.
So, this looked very stressful for Markoon here. He was holding onto the flash because he thought Mikyx would eat him. Mikyx can't get close enough and he gets stunned, so Markoon's then forced to flash. Then, when Jenax ults him in, that's when Mikyx goes to try and consume him, keep him alive for as long as possible. Now you see Nukeduck dodging out from the hook, uses the ultimate to create space between him and Jenax as the rest of the team gets knocked away. But now look at them, they're trapped between the two walls, and there's nothing that they can do. Jenax pops the stopwatch to be able to stay alive, but Nukeduck, with some fancy feet there, gets himself to safety, almost get to double, but XL secure a Drake and they keep the game going.
Sertuss built a wall and SK paid for it there. It was a very difficult position for them to be in, trapped, as you say, between the walls.
A rock and a hard place.
It was a rock and a hard place. Now SK still in a strong position in this game. Gilius can't move. Okay, he couldn't move until he realized he can walk through walls, and then he walked through the wall and came around the sides.
Just did a bit of swimming, swam through his problems. Was able to get to safety. The gold, honestly, doesn't matter that much. Just keep your eyes on the items now. Like, we're in the late game.
Full build on Jezu. Bloodthirster, his final item.
Honestly, the one that looks the weakest to me is Jenax. Like, even though he has that gold lead, it's just, this Sett just looks squishy to me. Yeah. If I was Patrik and I saw this Sett running at me, I'd be like, I don't care.
I get that, especially with Subjugate, right? Like, if Subjugate goes down on Jenax, he is incredibly squishy. Of course, can be used on Gilius and Treatz as well, to try and get rid of some of those resistances and try and...
And this is going to be the toughest thing for SK. XL have successfully gotten to the late game, and their comp is just so much easier to play with the number of disengage and peel tools that they have for themselves. So it's going to be up to SK to be able to find these creative fights, find these picks. Sertuss has done a great job this game of landing those knockbacks into stuns to find those initial picks, and a lot of responsibility is going to fall on his shoulders to be able to do it again.
Importantly, Markoon no flash, Nukeduck no flash either. You can see it's hook into knockback. Coordination there by SK, didn't quite land this time. No vision for SK on the Baron or even in the river.
2 control wards though in Treatz's inventory means that should he need it, he will be able to get some insight. Jenax careful of the flank. Wards over the wall, not in the bush, but it's a good enough. We'll be able to spot out any potential play that Excel try to make.
2 minutes on the next Dragon, and those 2 minutes perhaps an opportunity for Excel to secure this Baron. Treatz can look for something. Nukeduck. Finn goes in, Glacial Prison hits, and that's onto Gilius. He has to try and flash away, but already he's melted. Finn takes him with the Ignite ticking. He goes down. Now SK have to try and fight around this Baron.
Great pick from Excel, and it's done so cleanly too. Gilius just gets melted off the map. Let's see, flash out from Mikyx.
Good flash by Mikyx, he keeps himself alive. Baron will be secured. Treatz unable to get close enough to really contest any further. Excel advance through the mid lane. SK did get the push, got the prio, so the wave push forward for them there makes this a little bit easier. Finn now looking for the TP in. Glacial Prison not available for him, but does have the Arctic Assault. Just trying to force SK away from this mid lane. The wave crashed towards the mid lane tower, so that's going to fall. Excel, as you say, going down towards the bot wave, but that's taken as well. Excel will have to wait about 10-15 seconds for this mid lane wave to push in. Instead, they say, we'll reset. We'll use the Baron empowered recalls, get ourselves back, get ourselves more items. A stopwatch on Nukeduck as well is huge, one on Finn too. Makes it very difficult for SK to navigate the next fight.
I was just keeping my eyes on Markoon there. He was, like the comms from him were so clear. He looked so focused. He has a very clear game plan. You can see the win in his eyes. And it'll mean a lot to him and Excel to still stand a chance of making playoffs. The ultimate from Finn. Good
dodge to the side, but Jezu walks away from it. No cleanse, no flash. Now has to use it. The pillar comes down. On the hunt into the pillar mate, Jezu, a sitting duck, can wisely invests the flash. Baron's still up for 2 minutes time here. Excel gonna go down towards that bottom lane. You can see Nukeduck already on his way there. Just get prio in both the waves, in both the lanes, and then turn your eyes back towards the Infernal Drake. The vision control for them as well.
I think that's the most important thing, Medic. Making sure they deny that soul away from SK, because that could be a win condition, a way back for SK. And Excel's doing a great job, pushing in the mid, pushing in bot, denying the vision. Finn is looking though.
Pillar goes down. Gilius once again the one to be caught out. Markoon puts the subjugate down. The Weaver's Wall will separate them. It's a 3v5 right now as the TP's come in, but they're not back. Already Markoon down. Excel separated by the Weaver's Wall. SK get one. The Infernal Soul a possibility. Jenax next on the menu. Arctic Assault in by Finn. Not back, not quite. Jenax stunned up, Gilius low as well, and the damage from Nukeduck and Patrik is just too darn devastating. Nothing really SK can do. They're advancing into soldiers, into spinning discs, and Excel will turn their eyes back towards the Infernal Drake.
Losing Markoon could have been devastating for Excel.
And still be.
But Gilius is very low. Nukeduck.
Jenax forced away, just look at the damage. Patrik stepping forward, still has that GA. Haymaker coming out, Gilius too low to really do too much here, but doesn't want to smite. The Glacial Prism just short, Gilius clears out the wave in the mid lane.
They're just trying to keep Gilius as far away from this objective as possible. He has that smite. Markoon up in 10 seconds. Excel not even going to start it. They're not going to take the gamble. They're just going to keep chipping away. Right now, SK don't see anything. Finn no longer has the ultimate. TP comes back in. Gilius now has made it to the Drake.
Just go for the Drake immediately. You have to try and do it. Jenax has the Showstopper as well. He can separate Excel if he can. Though going in as well. Sertuss going to knock that Showstopper in by Jenax. He will sacrifice himself for an Infernal Drake. And what a bounty it is for his life. Finn now knocked into the wall box. The stopwatch right on the back line. The Death Charge finds a knock-up up to 2. Patrik locked into the GA, and there's a 1v1 between the AD carries. Jezu versus Patrik, and Jezu wins out. 3v2 in favor of Excel, but the Infernal Soul over to SK. Markoon still on the chase. The Subjugate looking for the movement speed as well. With the Frozen Domain, but the Keeper's verdict. And the verdict is guilty, but Markoon knocked back towards his base. SK walk away with the soul.
Oh my word, Excel just conceded control around the Drake. They gave SK a window to get in. And the moment that Gilius got on top of the dragon, SK made the call to commit. Jenax's whole goal there was to just buy time. Get Sivir away from our jungler so that he can secure the objective. And he did a fantastic job of it. Treatz and Jenax, look at what they do. They just keep Jenax out of the pit. They give Gilius and Jezu the space to secure the objective. Then they go for the fight, knowing that they have the numbers advantage. Mikyx with good peel onto Patrik, and Nukeduck in a great position, able to dish out damage, but the fight then splits. Patrik with crazy damage, ends up getting shut down by a big crit from Jezu, and then when he comes out of the GA, Jezu and Gilius able to secure it. We said it was going to be a battle between the AD carries, with these front lines doing everything that they can to protect them. The kills are dead even, the gold doesn't matter, everyone is pretty much full build. It all comes down to execution with SK with the soul. Baron spawns in just under 2 minutes. The loser will be eliminated from playoffs. the winner will still have a chance.
Oh,
hang on a minute.
That's a replay.
Okay.
That's a replay.
Okay.
Says it on the side, Vedi. I know vertical text can be hard to read. Nukeduck though locked out here.
He's fine.
Does still have the fashion course, can just dash across the wall, and it feels like in a tempestuous game, in a game that has been stormy from the start, we have a moment of silence in the eye of the hurricane. There's a moment to breathe for us all, because 3 minutes on the Elder, a minute on the Baron, that's when the next fight will come to the fore. 8-0-1 for Jezu. Full build Elixir of Wrath complete on him as well. Patrik, full build Elixir of Wrath as well. No real surprises there. The AD carry is the key man for their two teams. You can see the look of concentration, the tapping knees, the shaking hands for Excel and for SK.
Just pure stress, so much pressure.
Your whole year comes down to this moment.
For both these teams, they're locked in. They're so focused on the game right now. Winning is the only thing on their mind, and Finn is looking.
Treatz hit a short hook there onto the wall. Doesn't have to pay anything for it, of course. The hook, a very short cooldown at this portion of the game. Excel get mid lane control. Jenax will clear it out. Randuin's on him as well. He knows if he can get onto the Sivir, that attack speed reduction can be monumental. Of course, on Azir, does the same. Even on the Trundle, a game like this, the lethal tempo for the Trundle can do a little bit of work in these later game fights. Gilius here, spotted on a ward. Excel still the ones who are pushing forward further, gaining control in the enemy jungle. SK constantly grouped up. The Sundisk down in the mid lane, and Excel actually just have a straight walk towards the inhibitor tower here in mid.
Yeah,
Blast going back onto Gilius.
He's melting this. Doesn't want to overstay though.
Finn can
is
consult
looking.
away. Finn no flash, remember, does have to use that cute Sundisk though. Down to about half HP. Gilius looking for a flank position, but is not going to find it quite yet.
Patrik, my eyes are locked onto him right now.
TP targets, you can see the pings. Is there a ward behind the Baron here? Can we just move towards where the blue buff is? Yeah, that's the ward. That's the ward you're looking for. Jenax has 7 seconds on his TP. That's what they're going to look for if they can find it.
How much time does that ward have left? It can't be much, right?
There's another one. Oh, there, yeah, there we are. There's the TP immediately from Jenax.
They're going to see it. They're going to see it.
They see the TP, they see Jenax, the showstopper comes out, but perhaps your split has been stopped. Jenax, knocked back, that's Patrik, that's huge! SK, you got to advance, but they don't have the movement speed. No Shurelius, no on the hunt, no way of closing the gap onto Excel. A TP and a Keeper's Verdict expended, a Weaver's Wall down as well. Excel only burned the on the hunt. And the Glacial Prison.
The Baron's been started off, Nukeduck.
Hook. Onto Finn, the knock-up with the depth charge as well, the knock into the wall, Finn will fall. Jezu goes legendary, Mikyx trying to get away from this as well, does still have the Devour in case they need it. Patrik, no GA on him, Jezu still has his, that's from the last fight.
They're too low, they're so low, they need Patrik to be able to dish out the damage. The TP, they're going for the back door, there's no way they can pull this off, can they?
They're looking for it. Remember, no TP on SK, no one backed either. Boomerang Blade doing a lot of work there as Gilius is down to 400 HP. Jenax is going to be able to get back Treatz, knocked back, Patrik gobbled up with a Devour. Excel. Trying to hold on to it here. Sertuss low. A single ricochet would be enough. Markoon flash. Eat him! Eat him, Markoon! He jumps down, and it tastes like victory. Markoon finds the kill. SK retreat, and Excel turn their eyes towards the Baron.
Wow, I can't believe that Excel was able to navigate that in what must have been an insanely high-pressure situation. They have the awareness to not only TP bot lane, but then Patrik and Mikyx playing on the edge to not only get Sertuss low enough to allow Markoon to get the kill, but to split SK up enough to secure the Baron. Excel with a small win, but the game is far from over.
You see that clock in the top left corner, Vedi?
I see it.
You see that clock on Sertuss' face, Vedi? 30 seconds apiece. Sertuss will spawn as the Elder Drake comes up. Let's have another look at this, because it is so well played by
The damage from
Excel.
Patrik. The fact that they sent Nukeduck bot. Treatz hooks in and realizes how quick of a mistake it is. Mikyx with the quick reflexes on the R, and then the boomerang again onto Sertuss. Markoon sees the window, dives in, and they just can't close the gap onto Patrik. He keeps them at arm's length. And now a second inhibitor has been exposed. Excel are so close to knocking SK out of playoffs and keeping their own playoffs chances alive.
Still not in their hands, of course. If Fnatic win out, they win the whole thing. Baron buff still on Excel for the next 2 minutes, and that's the second inhibitor down. Excel could just push forward. They already went for that TP down towards the bot lane play. They have the cannon minion here. Double supers pushing in the bot lane as well. Tritt's gonna land the hook, but it's only onto Mikyx. Still has the thick skin. Getting thinner by the second whirling death going out. Patrik's already killed off Treatz. Jezu unable to take down Mikyx, and it's 2 already for Excel. Jenax able to get 1 in response.
Jezu is doing so much work for the team, but it's just not enough. He finds himself with 10 kills, but he just can't get on top of Nukeduck, who just sat from the other side of the wall and melted SK to pieces.
And that's the Elder. Gilius dead, no way to contest, no whirling death for Jezu, no last chance, no hope in hell of stealing this one away. Excel, it took them 7 splits to make their first playoffs, and they are darned if they aren't making their second one this time. They look to close this one out. They look to knock SK out of the running. The Weaver's Wall comes down just to try and delay those minions for a second. But Gilius has 20 of those before he's back up on the map. Markoon stepping forward. Patrik, look at the damage. The Elder just needs a single ricochet. Can't quite get there. Jezu trying to heal himself back up, trying to shield himself with that Bloodthirster. Able to keep above the threshold of death, the threshold of disaster for SK. The first Nexus tower falls though. Excel start to retreat a little bit. They know they're in a numbers disadvantage. Finn up in 9 with a TP available. Patrik stepping forward, keeper's verdict. Patrik, do you have the spell shield?
He's already used it.
Doesn't even need it.
Used it to block off Treatz' ultimate. Still alive for now. They're looking to end the game right here.
Gilius goes forward. Markoon though. Gilius already dead. He's going to tick, tick, tick. You have the field. There it is. The minions end up on Excel's side. There's 2. The lasers of disaster spelled for SK their doom as Excel keep their hopes alive.
What an incredible game between these two teams. It came right down to the wire. And frustration on the faces of SK. What an incredible performance from Jezu. He was 10-0 on the Draven up until the very end. They fought true and hard till the bitter end. And they came so close so many times. And just a few small decisions. It was literally a game of inches. That game could have swung either way. We said it was a battle of AD carries, and I feel like at the very end, it was Patrik that was able to make the difference.
Really was. Excel's composition as well, very much tailored towards late game, very much tailored towards their scaling fights, and they played it out to perfection at times. SK, devastated obviously by their loss. They were so close, but coming into the weekend, I think everyone had already rid of them off. So even to get close, even to be within a hair's breadth was huge. Excel take a bow. Got another game tomorrow. Your fate's still not in your hands, of course. The Fnatic win out, they just take that 6th spot, or maybe 5th, depending on how things roll out at the end.
Whew. What a game. I mean, obviously we talked a lot about Patrik, but Nukeduck was so instrumental in the success of Excel's game as well. The TP play that he made, the awareness to have that was so massive because it forced someone from SK to go back.
Yeah.
And then that Baron no longer became a free fight. The awareness to do that in a situation like that, regardless of who made that call, was just so incredible. So incredible. Finn with a number of great engages with his ultimates as well. It was really like everyone really stepped up in this game. Everyone was playing super well in this game.
Yeah.
It was
on both sides as well.
Yeah, it was a great game to watch. And obviously it ends in disappointment for SK, but what a bang out, what a game.
What a game. Excel and their 5-game losing streak. The key player of the game did pop up on your screen. I'll reiterate it for you in case you weren't looking, or in case, you know. But if you've got it muted as well, actually, you wouldn't even hear me saying it. So Markoon, Nukeduck, and Patrik, IO options. Everyone had great games.
Go vote on Twitter, of course.
Yeah, obviously on Twitter at LEC. You can also tweet at Vedius and just, you know, anything you want. Shakespearean text. You can say why you think frogs are the best reptile. The amphibian, yeah. Sorry.
Close one.
Correcting myself.
I'm a doctor, tired. That was a long game. That was a great game for us.
Yeah, it was amazing.
You will be joined by the wonderful Dracos Casual and Ender up next, so I hope you look forward to that.
It's a bit weird,
yeah, just a little. But yeah, wow. Obviously, the race for playoffs is still as close as ever. XL now kind of need Fnatic to lose.
Yeah.
I don't know who they play against.
Fnatic. They play against Vitality in game 4.
Oh, they're suddenly big Vitality fans.
Yeah, they're huge Vitality fans. Now, I see Finn sitting by. I'm sure he's as exhausted as we are, but thank you very much for giving us an interview. Law, over to you.
Exhausted maybe, but I have so many questions to ask Finn. Thank you for joining me. If there's a better opportunity to say that teams rise when the situation matters, I think this was Excel today. First impressions after this game.
Honestly, very relieved that we could get the win after that game. I feel like we was very back and forth. We knew we were outscaling and we tried to hold their aggression early game, but they actually got the better of us, I think, and I think they executed well. But we managed to stop their snowball and kind of catch up, and then we managed to out-teamfight them, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you came in today facing elimination. This game could have ended it all, and you started the split so well. Knowing that today could be your last opportunity to make playoffs, tell me how you remain calm before the game, even though you haven't been so successful lately.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever see us not making playoffs. I think we kind of see ourselves as better than that, and we really just had to push forward today and actually get this win. I feel like the last weeks we've been kind of struggling on stage. We kind of had good scrim weeks, but then when stage comes, we kind of fall apart and we kind of get a little bit nervous. We kind of don't really see the game clearly, and there's just like a little fog in our head that kind of keeps us from seeing what we actually need to do. And I think today it kind of showed still that we have the issues and we need to overcome them, but I see progress and I see that there's still chances of us making it there.
Rising when it matters, but I mean, you explained it so clearly, the fact that communication wasn't doing so well. Scrim results still didn't really make sense because, I mean, you had such a good system. How come you were not able to go back to the Excel form that made you guys successful? You knew what you had in you guys.
I think there was some meta changes, especially I think we relied a lot on Mark in the beginning of the season, being a strong carry for our team. Meta changing a little bit from the Wukongs, the Viegos into the more Trundle poppies. It kind of made us had to reevaluate how we want to actually play the game. And since Mark was leading a lot of the game in the early game, when he kind of needs to rely on us more, we need to step up and give him that information that he needs. Because now he's more of a facilitator for our lanes, so the lanes actually need to tell him what we need to win the game.
Well, do you think you learned something throughout this bad experience as a team? You individually, maybe? Yeah. What did you learn through this defeat that's going to make you stronger, hopefully, in playoffs?
Just chill. Like, I don't know. Don't take it too serious and don't overthink things. Just play your game and enjoy it while it lasts.
You were mentioning the meta, and I think it's super interesting because for the first few weeks, Excel was top of the standings, and in these situations, teams often lead when it comes to finding out what is best for the game. What is hard about staying on top of the table all the time?
I just think when I have a style that works and the meta is changing, you kind of subconsciously don't want it to change. So sometimes you're actually hanging on to your old style of play. Even when the meta is clearly changing, you're still playing your old things. You're trying to make them work in the new meta, and there's a kind of denial going on while you have to, when you're like slow to adapt. And I think that kind of hit us, and I think we're catching up now, but it is a bit late.
All right, it is not late. You're still in the race, but coming down, moving forward to tomorrow, do you have the confidence back?
I mean, I know that we will win tomorrow, but I just cheer for Vitality right now and hope they can give it to us.
All right, well, Finn, thank you for the interview. And congrats today on taking down SK. And I see that the Telestrator is ready. So Dagda, back to you with Mikyx.
Thank you very much, Laura. I am standing by with Mikyx just to talk us through what was an absolute banger of a game to come into today with. So we're just going to take a quick look at kind of the Soul fight. So this is where I think things got a little bit dicey for you guys. So you guys have just managed to come out. You're coming back in towards the Soul, and you've already managed to just start things off. So we're just going to play it through here. So I want you to just talk through your thought process here. As you're getting up to Soul, you have no jungler at the moment. Yeah. So what's kind of the thoughts as SK are moving in?
So since Trundle died, we don't really want to start the dragon because we can't kill it in time after the buffs. They're a bit tanky, the dragons. So we just want to like kind of poke them around here and wait for the Trundle to respawn. We look for the Sejuani ult here, misses, whatever. And then we're just like waiting for them to start and just trying to play the fight.
So as we come into this kind of point here, right? So you're kind of looking, you still got Trundle that's going to be on the way here. You're now down the Sejuani ult as well. You're trying to see if you get the quick pick. What's the thought process here again? Like, because you can already see they're starting the dragon. So what are you guys trying to achieve at this point?
Well, every team fight we paid really close attention to Sett, so most likely we're looking at Sett for him to not get a good ult. I think this one he actually got a decent ult off and got a big chunk out of us. But yeah, we're kind of just playing for the fight at this point, and I should probably eaten that Sivir a bit earlier before he got chunked to half HP, but here Azir actually is like kind of murdering them, I would say. And I thought here if we kill the Draven, we can actually end the game, but then the Draven killed us instead and ran away.
It definitely did make it a little bit unfortunate, but it put a wrench into the game plan.
But yeah, I mean, from then on we just like said we need to kite back. If we kite back, we will win every game unless Sett gets a good flank. So we were just like really mindful of flanks every time. As soon as we saw Sett, then we could actually play the game properly.
So were you nervous when this soul went across, or were you still like, no, okay, just so it was still just a case of, hey, look, as long as we can keep the Azir there, we can keep you at arm's length and make sure that that's all right. Just that.
I mean, luckily it wasn't the Hex deck soul. That one's the scariest. Like every other soul is like, you know, it's kind of playable, but that one is a bit scary. And I felt like the longer the game goes, the better it should be for us. I feel like Azir and Sivir should outrange and like outdamage Draven and Taliyah. So yeah, as long as we pull back, we don't get Sett flanked, we should win.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to let you join the rest of the desk over there. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll let you have a chat with the rest of the crew.
Awesome. Hello.
Hello, Mikyx.
Thank you for that breakdown. I don't know if you heard it, but Finn gave an interview to Laura and he was super insightful. So I'm going to pass some of his answers to you because it was really interesting. First off, he said that he felt like there's fog in the head when you guys are playing these games in comparatively to scrims and kind of the decisions that you have to make. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I can kind of see it, yeah. I feel like in scrims we're actually doing really well for the past, I don't know, few weeks. But on stage it always kind of falls apart. And yeah, I think now we kind of like drafted a way easier comp than, for example, yesterday. And we just kind of played front to back and just team fights. And usually I think that works when you're not in the greatest shape. And yeah.
And it's quite interesting to see as well, because, you know, yesterday's game's all about the early game, finding picks around the mid lane, you roaming up as well into that middle game. But in today's games, it was way more just like, well, early game's not actually really working out for us. And when I see Excel in that kind of position, I'm actually a bit worried, because usually they find their stride in the early game. But this time around, when you have Sivir, when you have Azir as well, you get put into a composition where you just outrange the opponent. The later the game goes, the easier it is to play these games, to the point where even when you had a Draven, that Draven can't hit the Sivir, that Draven can't hit the Azir, and because of that, you weren't really able to amount to that lead you got into something significant for SK later, and Excel were able to out-team fight them.
So draftive.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, even though it comes down to a lot more than that. When it comes to your decision-making, Mickey, there's been a lot of talk about how people... No, I mean, you're dying a lot. Let's just put it that way. It's not been going so well, and it seems to me from like an untrained eye, that's obviously a side effect from that, what you just talked about in terms of translating from scrims into those high pressure situations, and you want to make something happen where maybe you couldn't. Some of the analysts also talked about kind of a shift in champion pool, where as you are on something like the Nami, you're of course going to be much squishier than you are like here on a Tahm Kench. What is your read on kind of your play, and why do you think it was recently?
Well, I think I'm dying a lot because I'm playing bad, but besides that, I was trying to play more melee champions, I feel like, because sometimes it feels hard to play a range champ if you fall behind, because you can't really face check for vision anywhere. Even if you go with the jungler, you usually lose 2v2 against a melee support and like a jungler. So I've been trying more the melee approach. And I mean, last week was a bit harder because there was no Hex Flash to actually play those.
Oh, yeah.
So, but now I can kind of do it. And yeah, other than that, I feel like we just play a bit more scared on stage than usually in scrims. So yeah, I die a lot by trying to make stuff happen that I can't make happen.
Hexflash is actually really, it's a good point.
I love that point as well, because there's just like, there's so much pressure sometimes as well as the support to be the one setting up the entire objectives around vision control and all of that. And in solo queue, when you play an Enchanter, it's fine, it's broken. You're Enchanter, just late game scaling. You don't have to get vision the same extent you have to in competitive play. But when you're playing an Enchanter in competitive play, you always have to link up with your jungler. Pretty much, you probably need a solo laner as well, just to help you forget that, because still if you face tech 2v2, you still die. And that's why, like, even though Enchanters are great in theory, in competitive play, where so much about it is around these objectives, setting up for them, if you don't have that beefy melee support, it's just so difficult to set up.
You agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's take a look at some more.
Testing me, huh? What? You're testing me, huh?
No, that's your insecurity speaking. I'm just asking if he agrees. Oh my gosh.
Is he right?
Okay, let's take a look at this Baron from Excel, where, of course, in this situation, you have decisions to make, right? And you're stalling a little bit, Mickey, it feels like.
Since Sejuani died and still left 5 people, we didn't want to just like 45 to try to flip the fight and lose. We just wanted to actually pressure on side lane. It's kind of the thing we learned from our previous stage games, where we should have played on side lane, but we just kind of went for a fight and lost it. So this time we actually did it well, and yeah.
This kind of, to me, just seems like one of these fights is so hard to go back and VoD with you, because this just seems like playing on emotion. It's like, oh, they're overextending quickly, you gob up the Sivir, then all of a sudden, you know, you have Markoon on the other side just flashing over on the wall. Do you have any takeaways from a fight like this, or is it just like, oh, great, I'm happy we played it better on the day?
I mean, I think we just played it, you know, normal. I think that's how we should play it. I think just SK should have reacted better to our TP and set someone in the base. I'm not sure if they actually had TPs or not, or Taliyah ult or something, but I felt like they spent a lot of time trying to get a fight where Azir was pushing instead of just basing. And or they could just like all go hit Nash, and we can't really contest 3v5. And they just get Nash on the base and with the lose and inhib, but they chose neither of those, so.
That's, you know, do nothing and die. That's unfortunate then. Let's take a look at the Elder fight, basically deciding the game. There were so many, we were trying to like figure out what we want to show, but eventually I guess this was it, right?
So yeah, I kind of like, I mean, I wouldn't say int, but because I'm pretty tunky.
Soaking pressure here.
Yeah.
Sejuani ult goes wide, Finn is reported for that one, don't worry about it. But Azir has a really good position here. He's like basically just one-shotting everyone over the wall, and they can't really touch him.
And this just goes back to the comp difference, right? It's like he's sitting there when no one's able to hit him. Nukeduck's just having the time of his life. I'm pretty sure he's been chilling this entire game because there's been a lot of pressure. At least the fight seemed very stressful. Everything in the game seemed very stressful. But for Nukeduck specifically, I swear every team fight, he was just in a position where he hit for free. So yeah, great stop by him today.
Yeah, thank you for breaking that game down. Patrik was our Kia player of the game. And his damage was 1,337 damage per minute. Leap.
Yeah.
Nearly
he deserves it then, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Nearly 50% of his team's damage.
Wow.
Wowee. Sivir, man.
I think actually it says 1,334, but you know, it's fine.
Production, you lied.
But I think he played really well throughout the whole game.
They lied to us.
But if you go back and rewatch when we were ending the game, you should look at his flash. And then you can reconsider if he deserves it.
Oh, maybe we have to take it back.
He flashed purely for fun, and like it was like a bit risky. I was like, actually not risky, but scary to see that.
Yeah,
but, we won anyway.
I was actually, even with Sivir first picks today as well, like, is this champion just that good that she needs to be a priority, or?
Yes, and I think a lot of teams actually don't know how to draft against it.
Okay.
Like, I think the problem is that, people they lose their mind when they see Sivir, and they just pick champions that are not actually good into Sivir, and then they lose because they just pick other priority picks that Sivir is good into.
Oh, do you think they get lost in like the well, she can only spell shield one thing, so we'll pick this, this, and this, but actually it doesn't matter?
I mean, I think they just go for the priority picks that they decided on beforehand, like what they think is actually OP in the meta, and they just pick it because it's open.
And
but turns out they're not very good into Sivir. But I think Fnatic had a good approach into the Sivir last week. And I think SK yesterday against Vitality had a decent approach. I think it could have gone either way, but
okay. Great. We're going to look at those drafts and maybe make a little segment out of it at some point. Thank you for doing that work for us. But thank you, Mikyx, of course, still in the race tomorrow versus Astralis, so the best of luck for that tomorrow. And right now we're going to see Astralis. It'll be Mad Lions up versus them after the break.
Top team of the LEC, so we have to show to everyone how is the best team of Europe.
Just don't look at the numbers. We will try our best to win the next 2 games.